What's up everybody, welcome back. So there's one small episode left for the turret where I want to take a look at the turret accuracy. So currently, although we did have a pretty fast projectile, I think we have 7500 units or something per second. The turret has a really hard time hitting us if we are moving around, and that obviously gets a bigger problem if the level even gets bigger and the range of the turret increases, so it will just miss us by far. So we're going to take a look at how we can improve the turret accuracy, and then I think for this turret series we are done. I might do a separate episode to actually migrate the turret into the multiplayer project, but I'll have to see how that goes. So with that stuff out of the way, let's dive into today's short video. So one thing we could do is actually make our projectile a homing projectile. But especially if we have a pretty short range for the turret and the projectile is pretty fast, then we have to set the homing magnitude really high for this to actually work, and it might not always work. So something else that we can do is actually use the prediction sense. So if we go into the turret controller and go to the AI perception component, then we can add a second sense over here. So if we click the little plus sign under the senses config, then we can assign a second sense over here. So we want to select the prediction sense. And some options appear, but that's not really too important. There's not a lot of options for this one. So you can leave these to default and that's fine. And how can we use this prediction event? Well, let's start in the actual turret character. So we're gonna ask for a prediction event if we are aiming for our target. So we're going to do this in event tick. And let's go to the end over here. We can right click and we can request a prediction. So we have the controller prediction and the pawn prediction. So this simply is a different version depending on where you're calling it from. If you call it from the character or the pawn, you need the lower one. And if you call it from the controller, you need the upper one. So in this case, we're going to use the lower one. So the requester is simply a reference to ourselves, so we can hook up ourselves. The actor there where we want to predict something for is our current target, so we can simply plug in our current target. And for the prediction time, we can use a little bit of high school math. So we actually have the distance from the turret to our current target over here. And we also know how fast our projectile is. If we open the actual projectile and go to the projectile movement over here, we have the speed set to 7500. So we can simply divide the distance through the speed, and that will give us the time that the projectile takes to reach our target. So if we plug in the divide node and divide it through the speed of the projectile, and then simply plug this into the prediction time, then that should predict the correct position of our current target actor. So this simply uses the current movement of the actor and then calculates the position of the actor based on the current movement. So if I change direction, for example, then the prediction will be off. But if we walk in a linear line, then this will predict the correct position. Now there's one thing we can do, because we don't always need to fire this, only when we are aiming. So we could improve the performance here a little bit. So what we can do is add a boolean in between here, so we're not always requesting the prediction event. So let's add a branch and then hook up our new request prediction node. So in here, let's promote this to a variable and call this something like isTargetingPlayer. So if we drag off the condition and promote it to a variable, the default value will be true. So make sure you reset this to false. So by default, it's false. And then we can go into our combat state event. So start combat state. And over here, where we start playing the targeting BeamFX, we can also start requesting the prediction. So we can plug in our isTargetingPlayer right after the notify for the targeting BeamFX. Make sure we set it to true over here. And if we are done firing, so if we go to the turret end event over here, turret fire end. Then after our burst is done, so after the burst count is 3, then we're going to reset it back to false. So we are not requesting the prediction anymore. So hook this up like this. And now we can actually use the prediction event, but we need to go into our controller. First of all, we want to add one last variable inside of our turret character, and we're going to call this our predicted target location. So this is going to be a vector. And just to verify, these boolean and this vector don't need to be replicated. These are only going to be used by the server. So if the server sets them and the server reads them, that's fine. We don't need to replicate them. The clients are not actually using these variables. So with the predicted target location in place, that's where we actually want to aim at. So if we go to our turret fire event on the actual turret character still, before we spawn our projectile over here, we want to make sure we replace the current target location with our predicted target location. So plug that one into the unit direction vector node, and we can get rid of the target location. So the target location is now only used for the animation blueprint to make sure we aim at the correct location. So this is good to go, and now we can go into our controller. And on the event graph, we have the target perception updated event. So in this case, what we do first is check if we are seeing something with our sight sense. So we can copy this boolean and paste it over here. So we can hook up the false pin. So if it's not our sight class, then we might have perceived something with our prediction sense. So let's look for the prediction sense in here, AI sense prediction. And make sure we hook up the class to the get stimuli node over here. So then we also want to break the result structure. So we can copy and paste it and make sure we hook up the stimuli. And then we can use the stimulus location as the actual predicted location. So now we can grab our turret reference and simply set our predicted target location. Like so. So if we plug this into the true pin, and then grab the stimulus location and plug that in here. Now this should work, I think. I don't think I forgot anything, so let's just give this a go. Let's start the level. So we can also see the prediction with our AI debugger. So if we enable the perception, then we should be able to see a black sphere in front of us if the prediction is being called, or a gray sphere, as you can see. And as you can see, it's actually working. So currently, while I'm moving in a straight line, the turret is actually hitting me with the projectiles. And you can see the little gray sphere in front of me, and that's where the turret is actually aiming. So that's how you can use the prediction event to improve the aim without actually setting up a homing projectile. So yeah, a pretty short video, but I thought it was pretty cool and pretty useful. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. If you like the series, please consider leaving a like. And if you want to get the project files for yourself, you can become a Patreon or a YouTube member. And then you will get access to premium channels in the Discord with some downloads in there as well. And there's also a whole bunch of free projects for non-members in the Discord, by the way. So thanks everybody, talk to you later, bye bye.